What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another draft video. I'm going to be talking about my recent draft tourney win that happened last night. It was a really insane tournament for me, and it started at 2 in the morning and didn't finish till past 4 in the morning. So during the draft phase, I don't have any footage of it because it was late at night and I didn't feel like recording. Sorry about that. But during the draft phase, what happened was I started to get some pretty crazy rares. Things like Olama and Temptation. And so I was like, okay, I want to be in these colors, right? I drafted good bombs and I tried to stay in those colors. And what kept happening is that I wasn't seeing any of those cards. And it was just insane. So I ended up drafting. I was in red for quite a bit. I know looking at the deck list right now, you don't see me running red, but I did draft quite a few red cards. But yeah, this is what I ended up with. I ended up going for the 3-color yellow, orange, and splash green for the constructors and the matryoshkas. And I got Triforge Alliance with that. And basically what happened is that I started seeing so many artifacts that nobody was picking up. So I was like, screw it, I'm going Fires of Creation. And I have more than enough artifacts to do that. And it's going to give me extra minions, which I was, really needing. Anyways, yeah, this is basically what I ended up with. And it won me the tournament. Let's hop into some games. All right, so game one, we're against Darling Wolf, round one, game one, that is. And we have a pretty decent starting hand. Having Sovereign's Blessing is just an insane card in limited and draft. And I think people are going to want to start running it in constructed, honestly, because it is so good, especially now with the nerf to Hysterical Strength. So they don't have a turn one play, and we are on the draw, so we get to play our one cost free Forgeling. And I basically used the divination off that Forgeling to find the Matryoshka to burn, so I could play the Bolshoi on two. And I saw that they were on safe house, and I was like, I'm definitely going to want to ramp here and try and outvalue them, because I'm just going to play the board. And I had a nice curve, so I was like, I'm going to play the board anyways. And I drew into Triforge Alliance and got 3 minions on the board, so I know I'm going to be getting value out of it. I do have the Sovereign Blessing. Unfortunately, they did play quite a big body here. And I pop my Bolshoi, and I use the Sovereign Blessing and just go straight for the Triforge Alliance with the Infuse as well, and get 8 damage in on turn 4 and then get the buff. The nice thing about Sovereign Blessing is that it lasts until your next turn, right? But they go ahead and drop a pretty big bomb here. So yeah, let's see. What am I gonna do? I decide, you know what? I'm just gonna trade here. 2 for 1, and that's fine. I'm gonna keep getting buffs off of Triforge, and I'm gonna be able to push 3. And then I did develop another big body on the board, so I'm fine with that. They ended up having this insane mythic, which is Phantasmagorgonian. Yeah, that's how you say it. But I had the Slot Elite in hand, and so I had a huge punish right there, and they just give up because I can, take that for free and then push another 5 face, and then I have 3 more bodies that are getting buffed by Triforge Alliance. Let's hop into game 2. All right, game 2, we are starting on the draw again, so we get that 1 mana Forgeling, and we have no green in hand, but we do have quite a few artifacts and some Forgelings for divination. We can find green if we draw into some other green that we want to play. But yeah, they don't have a turn 1 play again, or they actually did, but they're not going to play it with safe house, right? And they're not going to play the board. They want to get some draw value off of this, which I didn't know. I thought they just had a bad starting hand. Interesting thing is that they could have played Clay Effigy turn 1 onto my side, but they know I have Triforge Alliance, and that would be pretty bad for them. So they do play a Barkeep here, which is kind of bad. But yeah, I end up playing. So this artifact, you don't see it in Constructed, but it's pretty good. Before attacking gets -1 and fragile 1, but I'm not going to wait for them to try and attack and do some shenanigans. I just use my Sovereign Blessing. And we're in a pretty good spot here. They ended up playing Slant Stone, which can be pretty good for us because it's just a slow play, and it honestly, mill can either hit your really good stuff, or it can just, you know, mill some junk out of your deck so you can get closer to what you want to see. So they do have the 6/6 gem cutter, and that's not too bad for us. We'll be able to just chump block and play our broker here, and so we're gonna just start drawing. And I go ahead and use the Swift off of my Stalker, and it has Alpha Strike, so I just take that out. And they play this crazy head of the family, and we'll see how many outlaws they can tutor off of this. But it's a pretty good card if you manage to draw. If you manage to draft some outlaws. They did get our Alama ring here, so that kind of sucks because we have a pretty big board right now. We would have loved to play that, but it's whatever. We're kind of in a bad spot. We're just activating our artifacts on the head of family, and we can't really push any damage. They have way too big of bodies for us to deal with, and we're just going to try and hope to find some answers and make some favorable trades. So I can only play one Matryoshka here, and we're just going to play another Forgeling. And the nice thing about playing that 3/3 Forgeling there is it's going to trade with one of those cards. But the crazy thing is using the artifact on it, right? So it doesn't actually trade here, even though it had Alpha Strike. It didn't even take that out for free because, yeah, and I'm celebrating that those artifacts did something good. And we just keep getting milled. These Golem Hunter prototypes are so good, so I was a little sad to see that one go. But we do get a second Matryoshka here, which is gonna set up some really good it's gonna help us kill the head of family here, and we end up losing one, our digital golem, but that's fine because its demise gives us another one, a 0-cost one. Yeah, and we're just too wide, too many big bodies, and they were out of gas, and we have a 5 energy lore broker, so that was it. Easy 2-0 for round 1. All right, round 2, game 1. We are against orange, purple, blue list that seems quite aggressive, running the aggro path here. But we do have a nice turn 1 with our axolotl, so we're gonna try and contest as much as possible here. Yeah, they end up playing their free token across from our axolotl, and I'm like, I don't think I want to make that trade just yet. I'm going to play the Blood Idol and then wait for my axolotl to get big enough to take that out for free. But they play the Conviction, and I mean, that's fine. It still didn't kill the Blood Idol. So we're just going to let them trade into it eventually. And go ahead and play our Forgeling for that Divination. And you saw Triforge Alliance there. Unfortunately, it shuffles everything back, so hopefully we draw into it again. Alright, so I didn't know which Shinobi this was. I was hoping that it wasn't the Shinobi of Fire, because they're just going to agile around that snake. And I don't think they attack into... Do they attack here? Maybe they do. People aren't used to playing around this artifact. And it was, yeah, they don't. It was the only minion on the board, so good for them not attacking there. And we go ahead and burn our Temptation since we can't play it, and infuse and play our prototype on the other side of the board. And we're just going to keep using our artifact here. We have an empty hand, and they have a pretty full hand, which is good in some ways, because that means they're not going to be drawn off their path. Unfortunately, they're going to use their free mantle here to push some damage, and luckily we top decked that Matryoshka with the Forgeling, and we're going to be able to push some damage here and block all three of the lanes so they can't get another breach off. So we've got a really wide board. It's insane that they got Sword Saint in draft. This card is really good in draft, especially when it's all pretty much minion combat, so you know you're going to get value out of it. So we need to find a way to kill off. We top deck into a Llama Ring. Oh yeah, I did play another Forgeling, so I divination for that. And yeah, we're just going to make some easy kills here and use the Matryoshka to kill off that Moon Brother. I think that's what they're called. Moonblade. Brother Moonblade, that's it. So, crazy card in draft, Mugi of Good Fortune. They don't have an enchantment to play it on right now, but we're still just chipping away at them. This guy has lurkers, so whichever one that he decides to, or whichever one that they decide to attack with. Ooh, and they did have the He Who Creates with the Imperfect Copy, so 2 9/9s on the board. But I'm going to be able to take this one for free, right, with the Matryoshka, and then I can just play something else and do the same thing again, because this has lurker, and they're not going to be able to target it. But I decided, yeah, I really don't care about killing that 9/9 right now. They're really close to being dead, so I'm just going to play the entire other side of the board, and they're kind of low on cards now too. So, yeah, there's not much they can do. This card has Swift, and we just have 2/2 snakes and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, they can't block all the lanes, they know it. So I just go ahead and swing in for lethal. And that was game 1. Alright, game 2, round 2. We got the first win, and we are going second. So we do have a pretty decent hand with all our colors and a pretty nice curve. That's the thing about the deck that I drafted, is it caps out at 5 mana, I think. I didn't get any late game bombs, but I did get a lot of good low curve cards. I also didn't mention this earlier, but I did get a card. So the Flame Spar is an amazing mana sink in draft. So to clear the board or to do face damage, especially because I got so many Bolshois. They have a pretty good starting hand. They had the Twin Fire here and with the Knives in the Dark, but I had my Venom Fang Mutant, so there wasn't much they could do about it. They kind of wasted that card. I don't know. Yeah, they wasted that card. They didn't need it to kill it. Because it had Frenzy and it could attack twice and just 1 for 1. But we do have the Triforge Alliance with the cadets on the board. Yeah, it's fine that we end up having to lose our Forgeling, but we get 3 cadets buffed with our Triforge. And we do have a Prototype Hunter in hand and a Stalker, so we're in really good shape. I think I end up playing the Hunter prototype here because I want to infuse in just 1 for 1 a cadet for that Ronin. Yeah, that's the best play, and I'm not sure I should have even contested over there because I'm so far ahead and I'm the aggressor here. I kind of just like put that 4 damage over there, and they decide they want to block that side, and yeah, so I'm going to be able to do more damage here, and I realize, yeah, I need to play the other side of the board. and we have one more turn with our Triforge Alliance online, so we're just gonna get buffed. And I'm not gonna trade into that brother over across from lane 1 because I want that Triforge buff so I can get an even trade, because I wouldn't have been able to kill it before. But I guess I should have in hindsight, because it doesn't take retaliatory damage. But either way, we have, you know, lethal a couple of ways. Yeah, I just go for a lethal without trading and show them a little more in my hand. But yeah, that was game 2, another 2-0 for round 2. Oh, so this is the third and final round, and this is game 1, and my replay is bugged. But I will show you guys the final board state of the game. They kind of, I got so close to lethaling them. You can see they were on 2 HP, but they managed to draw into Berserker Sickness and were able to lethal me before I could close out the game. But it was a really back and forth game. Awesome game 1 to start the final series. All right, and apparently game 2 replays bugged as well for some reason. I don't know if it's something I'm doing or if there's something wrong with the client, but let's look at the end game board state. Basically what happened was I got my llama, I got my cadets. They had a pretty slow starting hand, not the greatest, but also not bad, right? They had a couple of good bombs that I dealt with, but we did have a pretty strong start. That obligation is what's on the Carl here, and it was on the Shatterstone Palace, and they ended up taking 2 turns to move it over because I just ignored it pretty much, and I just did a bunch of face damage. And that's how I won game 2. All right, sweet. The third game of the final round isn't bugged, so we're gonna go through it here. And I'm, you know, it's like 4 in the morning for me, and I'm exhausted. I just want this to end, win or lose, but I'm gonna give it my all, or all I can give it with what's left of my brain at that time. So turn 1, we just play our Forgeling, we Divination, and yeah, we're going to be able to play a turn 2 Matryoshka and take this Ox out for free, which is awesome. Huge punish here. I guess not that big. We would have been able to infuse and just trade 1 for 1, but yeah, just the Matryoshka lets our Forgeling live. And you know, I know right now that they're playing Shatterstone and they always have it, so I don't know if it was the right play to actually block this here, but otherwise they would have like a 3-4 life tap agile that's just swinging away, which they do anyways, but they take my Dreamweaver with it. So I don't know if that was the smartest decision in hindsight, but yeah, I just realized like I got a Yana virus that even though there are no adjacent units, I'm not going to get full value. I just have to like stop them from life tapping, or else all my damage is going to be negated there. And they do have a pretty awesome card here, which is Dragon Slayer. And
pay your premiums.
I'm gonna have a hard time dealing with this, so I'm just gonna use Matryoshka and Fuse and 2 for 1 it. But I am gonna be able to draw off of my broker because of that. But I really don't want that big body living. And unfortunately, they get to activate the Ronin because they did face damage that turn, and they play Compulsory Curse on that, which is, you know, kind of sad, but I don't know if this was the right play either. I just wanted to trade into it. There's more punish, I know, but unfortunately, yeah, they decide they don't want to make this trade. They're just going to silence this, which doesn't really make sense if they're not going to kill it, right? So I go ahead and just start swinging away here. I do miss. Oh no, Matryoshka does not work on the suppressed units. So yeah, I found that out the hard way this game, and so they get to suppress both of my units that have really good text on them. We just keep top decking other artifacts with our forgelings using the divination, because I don't want to just draw into something pretty bad, and this way I'm guaranteed that I know that I'm going to be able to play forgelings as well as the artifacts. They do have the brittle blast here and start doing some pretty insane face damage. And they haven't run into a single one of my snakes yet from Icon of the Feathered One. I do end up drawing into a Serpent's Den, which is really good, and we're just kind of trading back and forth here. So yeah, they go ahead and use the exhaust or erode on that, but it's suppressed, so it doesn't work. And I go ahead and play another hunter, and I'm swinging away, and I think somebody actually said that I missed lethal, and I think it's the next turn coming up. So let's see if we can find it. All right, here we are. So if I swing here and then here, because of the demise, I knew they had Koga Imposter because I played 2 games against them already and they played it against me. So that would be 2, 6, and 9. So yeah, somebody said it was lethal, but oh yeah, it is. It is, right? So 3, 7, and 3. Yeah, I did miss lethal. That's unfortunate. I really couldn't think at this point, and no excuses though. I miss lethal. So I go ahead and play my Bolshoi, and I'm just gonna keep playing into this game. I wanted to keep this prototype hunter alive here because that was the one that wasn't suppressed, and I'm just gonna go ahead and do more phase damage here. I have these 3 lanes blocked off with the Icon of the Feathered One, and they go ahead and play Umugi, which on the Shatterstone Palace, which is insane. But yeah, they only had 1 blocker, and that was that. But I did miss lethal the turn before. Anyways, this was an incredible tournament with some really high skill players, and it was such a pleasure to play. So thank you for Darling Wolf for hosting, and you guys can join their tournaments anytime. They're one of the players that have been hosting tournaments the longest since the tournament mode came out, and they are a draft expert. So I highly recommend it. Thanks a lot for watching, and let me know if you guys want more draft and limited content. I'd be happy to provide it because I'm having so much fun with it lately.